Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Singer's Toolbox. Today, I have a nice tip for all of you about how to go about searching on eBay for certain scores so that you're not eternally looking for things, but you can kind of let eBay work for you. We'll get into that. I also want to feature some great music that I bought a couple of weeks ago from a soprano on one of the Facebook forums, but let's dig into it, shall we? All right, so let's start off with the music that I got on Facebook here. Guys, we're coming into the time of spring cleaning, and people are going to be cleaning out their bookshelves. This is the best time, especially if you want to be conservative about not wasting paper. Sell your music if there's stuff that you don't need. Buy music from people. It cuts down on like people printing things for the first time, or like companies printing things for the first time. And saves on paper, right? But I was really excited when I saw these pieces here. I did some research going into these and figured, especially for some of the early music that I have here, that it sits low enough that a tenor could do it as well. I also like having stuff on hand that if, I'm in a situation that where people are looking for pieces, I happen to have some of these. So this first one comes from the Concerto Vocale series that Baronreiter puts out. This one is by Julius Johann Weiland, and I've heard of this composer. I've done some of his stuff in my church job, but I've never seen any of these solo pieces. Really cool. This one doesn't come with parts, unfortunately, but the score is laid out in such a way that you can pull the parts out fairly easily. I'm personally looking into putting together a recital. It's kind of like why I'm buying all this early music. In the last couple of weeks, you've seen some of this early music. To put together a recital of psalm settings and liturgical settings that kind of like span early music to modern. So I figured this would be a fun one to have. Look into it, guys. This is a cool little series, too, that Baronreiter does. They're very trimmed down. This is a really well put together edition. This next one here, Benedetto Marcello. I've heard about these pieces for a while and was never able to really find the music, but this is Marcello's Psalm number 15. So the cool thing about the Marcello Psalms, if you didn't know, and do some research because these are really cool, Marcello wrote or he set the first 50 Psalms of the Bible, and that's known as the Songs of David, I believe. This is actually a misprint, by the way. I realized this when I was listening to these. This is actually the 14th Psalm, not the 15th Psalm. I don't know what happened with this Breitkopf edition, but because I really wanted the 15th Psalm, because the 15th Psalm uses like Middle Eastern modes, kind of more, it sounds a little bit more of the Judaic persuasion than like the Western Christian persuasion of like that period. So it really, really cool music. And I really want to eventually find the correct Psalm 15, but the Psalm 14 is really cool too. So look into it. But yeah, just if you ever see this edition, double check the music that's inside, because this is most definitely the Psalm 14 and not 15. Really cool music. Looking forward to getting into it. Last thing I have here, again, I've heard of this composer. And I've heard of this piece. I can't remember where I heard this piece. Some person's recital. But absolutely love this. This is Beautiful Things by Paul David Thomas. And in this piece, I think I was reading the introductory note. In this piece, you have settings of pretty much like poetic meditations, trying to find like the beauty in each of these things. So you have 4 songs, beat, cardinal, dandelion, and hymn. Some of the poetry is quite fun, and pokes a little bit at the subject, but also They're gorgeous, guys. It's totally worth it. This also comes with the violin part, this edition. And one quick note for my people out there that are looking for modern pieces of music. So it seems like, and I've said this before in other videos, but it seems like people get weird when they see Schirmer on here. But it's really important to note that, like, this is E.C. Schirmer, okay? E.C. Schirmer is a really big publisher for the modern stuff. There's also, and I think I've mentioned it when I talked about anthologies here, but there's a really great modern anthology that is the E.C. Schirmer anthology and is a whole lot of relatively contemporary works, right? I think the earliest thing in that anthology is maybe like Robert Ward's The Crucible. But definitely worth looking into. E.C. Schirmer is a great publisher. This is a great piece. Really happy that I found this one. So next I want to get into a little like talking instructional segment about how to use a certain feature of eBay to help you find the things you want to find, right? Not sure if everyone was aware of this, but there is a beautiful little function built into eBay if you're willing to get email notifications where when you type your keywords into eBay looking for certain things, as broad or as specific as you want it to be. You could even just put in opera scores or Strauss scores or whatever, right? If you ever noticed, either on your computer or in one of the apps, right, on your phone, tablet, Android, whatever, you can have, there's a little heart that's below the keywords, right, where it says like save this search. When you save the search, you can also get email notifications whenever there's a new posting, or when the AI kind of like combs through eBay and is like, we think that you might like this. You can kind of do like targeted email notifications from eBay that really, really save you time and kind of let eBay work for you, right? These next couple of pieces I'm going to show you were the result of some of these notifications. And man, I really lucked out with some of these this week. So let's take a look at some of the stuff I got from eBay this week. So this first keyword that I used in this search was Operetta scores, right? When you save that search, it'll ask you, do you want to receive email notifications about anything pertaining to Operetta scores? You select yes, right? So this was a relatively new keyword for me, and I just thought, why not? We'll see what happens. But man, oh man, I've been looking for this score for quite a while, and I'm so happy I found this. So Victor Herbert scores are really hard to find. Okay. And the fortune teller had recently been done, maybe in the last 1 or 2 years, by the Victor Herbert Renaissance Project. I think I'm saying that right. The Victor Herbert Renaissance Project. But they had done the fortune teller, and I'd wanted to buy a score just for funsies, but they're like so expensive. And some of them aren't even in print. Some of them are like falling apart. But yeah, so this popped up in that keyword search, and really happy I found this guy. Man, I want to produce one of these one day. It's gonna happen. But they're really, really fun. One other thing I want to talk about in relation to this, and kind of another function of eBay that might work for you, help you if you didn't know about this already, is that so on eBay you have sellers, right? Like, I talk about my friend Roman on here, and how awesome he is. But one of the tricks to eBay is sometimes it's kind of like gold mining, right? You find that little piece of gold in the rock there, and then that might be connected to a larger lode, right? But in this case, when you find a piece that you like, it's a strong possibility that that person might be selling more stuff, right? So when you scroll down in eBay, you can find the seller, and then you can say like see more products. And if the filters are not helping you to find more opera scores, or more like whatever kinds of sheet music you're looking for, when that seller pops up, their seller name ends up in the search bar. You can put that in the search bar and then put whatever keyword after it, like opera scores or whatever, to help, narrow down what their products are and find what you're looking for, right? So the other thing that I found from this person, and man, oh man, kind of goes hand in hand with this Victor Herbert score here, is, and I've talked about this series before, and this is probably the coolest version, or the coolest volume of this series that I've seen so far. This is the Broadway musical song by song. That's what it is? Yeah, no, sorry. Broadway musical show by show. Um, this volume, guys, I didn't know that all this stuff was in here. So the reason why this one's really cool, this 1891 to 1916. So you know how like sometimes you want to find operetta arias, like the Victor Herbert arias, or oh, I don't know these other composers in here, but all of those early American operetta arias are in this book. I was amazed because there's some, like, I have some of these scores, like Florodora, Babes in Toyland, stuff like that, but I've never really had the time or really the drive to, like, comb through the scores and take the arias out. This does it for you. And this has all of the most popular stuff all in here. So man, I have to like highly recommend if you're in the market for wanting to find like early operetta stuff. Again, this is like a resource. So say if you're doing Lotte Lenya, make sure you're taking it from the original score, like the fortune teller, right? But man, I didn't know that a volume like this existed. So great find today. And using those eBay tools that I was talking about, being willing to like look through a seller's stock on eBay rather than just keyword searching. Really powerful stuff, and it yielded some great results. Next up here, I want to show you all the very big catch-all opera scores keyword, right? This score is another one that I have been looking for a long time because there are several really good arias in it, but the score is so expensive. I don't know how I found the score for $20. I think that the person wanted 25, but they were like taking offers, and I asked for 20, and they took it. So this is The Tempest by Lee Hoiby. This is also a really interesting score because it was today o'clock when I realized, or really when I got it, that this Tempest, or really like, this publication, is actually like handwritten manuscript. So, if you're into the arias, and those arias are all pretty much in those Schirmer, Hal Leonard aria anthologies, there probably is a better printing that's a little bit more legible. But I mean, like, this show is so cool. When I was really interested in a couple of the arias from this show, both the soprano and the tenor arias, I went and I listened to about half the show, and man, it's so cool. So yeah, guys, opera scores keyword on eBay yields some of the craziest stuff. Some of it's not going to be useful to you. Really, like a lot of it's not going to be useful to you. But it's just every once in a while, if you're willing to comb through the emails that you get, like every day you get that one little email from eBay being like 22 new scores for you to look at or something. Sometimes you find gems. You just, it's all just a patience and waiting game thing. But I've been waiting years to buy this thing. The last one here is my newest keyword search on eBay, just because for anyone who knows me, I mean, sometimes I just get like a little obsessive about trying to, complete my set of something, right? And I had just started using a Britten Britten sheet music keyword search on eBay, but I was just about to stop using it because I had just gotten that huge haul of Britten music in, and I was like, you know what, when the other stuff comes up, it comes up. But man, I'm happy that I had it. I've stopped using the keyword now because I pretty much have everything that I want. But the one piece that I had been looking for a while and just couldn't seem to find cheap finally popped up, and that is the Songs from the Chinese. These are fascinating for Britten because I don't know how much everyone knows about Benjamin Britten and kind of like the way he went about writing his music, like other than the operas, right? But Britten was fascinated with the poetry of other cultures. First off, he was just fascinated with poetry and the concept of the writing of poetry, but he also loved all of these other cultures, right? One of the biggest things that affected his writing of opera was when he and Peter Pears went to Japan and saw their first performances of no theater being performed, and then that really influenced like the church parable writings and things like that, right? But these poems in particular, I'm really interested in them because I've had a recital idea brewing in my mind for a bit, like just the concept of you have these composers who speak their own home language, right? But then this poetry gets imported to their country, but the only way that they can read it, much like, us here in America, where the only way we can read, say, Pushkin is if it's translated. But then, when I talk to my friends, like I had a very nice long conversation with my friend Sasha yesterday, talking about how you really can't truly get the depth of this poetry unless it's in the original language, like what you're reading in the original language, right? But I find it fascinating how these composers can take this poetry that's been translated and then set it and like trying to like plumb the depths of like the true meaning of the poetry as was the intent of the author and putting it into music, right? I have a couple of other pieces that entail this, like the first and second German notebooks by Gavrilin, this Russian composer who like had this German poetry that was translated into Russian, and then he wrote stuff by it. It was my voice teacher, Boris Lucian, had premiered the second German notebook, and I fell in love with that piece. But that's kind of where the idea started for this idea of a recital. But now that I was reading through these Britten songs for the Chinese, the idea is pretty much solidified. I am going to do a recital about this at some point. And between that and the Gavrilin, it's like really the basis for everything. So yeah, a little bit obsessive about the Britten stuff and trying to complete the collection. But with that piece, I am fairly certain I now have all of the music that Pears premiered for Britten. So sorry guys for ranting and going on some tangents in this video, but I want to leave you with some final thoughts and conclusions. So we're getting to that time of year now. We're going to be itching to do some spring cleaning. It's finally getting warm out, thank God. And I just want you all to consider not just donating your music, but also being willing to sell it for a reasonable price for the singers out there that are looking for things, but brand new is way too expensive. I built this entire collection just on used scores, and so many stories to tell from the people who used to own them, right? So keep the music and the stories flowing. But, as to also the topic of this video, I hope that I was able to help you all gain a little bit more knowledge as far as things that you can use to help eBay work for you rather than you looking around eBay like crazy and not having a lot of results. eBay has really helped me be able to buy a lot of this stuff, but at like decent prices. And I've also gotten to have some really great relationships with sellers over the times. So just some things to consider. If you like the content that you're seeing, don't forget to like and subscribe in the bottom here. There's the Discord if anyone has any questions. You can also leave comments of questions. I am more than happy to help you. And I will see you next time on The Singer's Toolbox.